At 72, I thought I had already lived through every kind of storm a marriage could bring. 48 years with Harold had taught me patience, compromise, and the quiet art of swallowing pain. But nothing prepared me for the day he stood in that courtroom and looked at me like I was a stranger. "I forbid you from seeing the family," he said, his voice cold, steady, and loud enough for everyone to hear. For a moment, I thought I had misheard him. The judge paused, adjusting her glasses, as if even she needed a second to process what he had just said. My hands trembled in my lap, fingers curling into the fabric of my old navy dress, the one I had worn to our granddaughter's birthday just weeks ago, back when I still believed I had a family. The courtroom felt smaller suddenly, suffocating. My chest tightened as I looked at Harold, the man who once held my hand through childbirth, who danced with me barefoot in our first kitchen, who promised, "It's you and me always." Now he wouldn't even meet my eyes. Our $3.5 million house, the home we built together brick by brick, had become the center of this war. He claimed it was his, said I had contributed nothing. 48 years reduced to nothing. I wanted to stand up, to shout, to remind him of the nights I stayed awake nursing our children, the sacrifices I made when he lost his job, the way I quietly sold my jewelry to keep the lights on. But my voice wouldn't come. Instead, I whispered, barely audible, "Harold, why are you doing this?" He didn't answer. His lawyer did. "My client believes it is in his best interest to move forward independently, Your Honor." Independently. As if I were some burden he could simply discard. Tears blurred my vision, but I refused to let them fall. Not here. Not in front of him. I had already given him too much of myself. But the worst part wasn't the house. It was the silence from my children. Not one of them had called me after the court notice arrived. Not one had asked if I was okay. It was as if Harold had already erased me from their lives, and they had agreed to it. The judge finally spoke, her tone firm but measured. "Mrs. Carter, you will have an opportunity to respond." An opportunity. I nodded slowly, my heart pounding. Because in that moment, something inside me shifted. I had spent nearly 5 decades being the quiet one, the forgiving one, the one who held everything together. But as I looked at Harold, at the man who had just tried to take my home, my dignity, and my family, I realized something I should have understood years ago. I had nothing left to lose. And for the first time in my life, I was ready to fight back. The courtroom fell silent as I slowly rose to my feet. My knees ached, and my hands still trembled. But my voice, when it came, was steadier than I expected. "Your Honor," I began, glancing briefly at the judge before turning my eyes toward Harold. "I may not have earned a paycheck all these years, but I built that home." A murmur rippled through the room. "I raised our children while he worked. I kept that house standing when we had nothing. I sold my wedding jewelry so we wouldn't lose it once." My voice cracked slightly, but I didn't stop. "So if he believes I contributed nothing, then he's forgotten what a marriage is." For the first time, Harold shifted uncomfortably in his seat. His lawyer stood quickly. "Objection. Let her speak," the judge said firmly. I took a breath, feeling something unfamiliar rise inside me. Not fear, but strength. "And as for my family," I continued, my voice softer now, but no less powerful, "no one gets to forbid a mother from loving her children, not even their father." The silence that followed was heavier than anything before. The judge leaned forward slightly, her expression no longer neutral. "Mr. Carter," she said, "marriage is a partnership under the law. Contributions are not measured solely in income." Harold said nothing. "Based on the evidence presented," she continued, "this court recognizes Mrs. Carter's equal claim to the marital home." My heart stopped. "The property will be divided accordingly. Additionally," she added, her voice sharpening, "no individual has the authority to restrict familial relationships in this manner." That request is denied. It was over. Just like that. I sank back into my seat, my body suddenly heavy with relief. I hadn't realized how tightly I'd been holding everything inside me for years, decades, even. Harold didn't look at me as he gathered his papers. But this time, it didn't matter. Because something had changed. Not just in that courtroom, but in me. Later, as I stepped outside, the cool air brushed against my face. The sky was painted in soft shades of orange and pink, the kind of sunset I used to watch from our kitchen window. My phone buzzed in my purse. Hesitating, I pulled it out. A message. From my daughter. "Mom, I'm sorry. Can we talk? Tears filled my eyes, but this time they fell freely. Not from pain, but from hope. Because at 72, I hadn't lost everything. I had finally found my voice. And maybe, just maybe, I was getting my family back.